safety issues for our community and our residents on Camino Diablo, and especially the small downtown area where homes sit close to the road. It has compromised their structure and value of our properties. It's a quality of life issue. 239 Airport Connector project would take some of the stress off our small country roads. Please prioritize 239 in your spending plan. Thank you.
So my name's Smitty, and I'm from a city in the middle eastern part of Contra Costa County called Concord. I'm here to support Bike East Bay's proposal for 5% percentage of the expenditure plan. I've been an advocate in Contra Costa County an advocate for bicycling in Contra Costa County since 2001. During that period, I've seen a large increase of the use of bicycles and a large increase of pedestrians walking to the BART station. Infrastructure has not kept up with the increase of use of bicycles in Contra Costa County, so we need to get funding to increase the infrastructure for bicyclists so that it can be safe for families to go to school and for people like myself to commute to the BART station and go into San Francisco. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. And then the next person to get in line will be Dave Campbell to follow Mr. Dugan. Welcome.
Yes, I'm Jack Nix. I live on Camino Diablo in Byron, and that's what I wanted to speak to add to what Mrs. Menasian had to say. Camino Diablo is become a racetrack. It is the unintended consequences of the Highway 4 bypass, and it's a shortcut between Vasco Road and the Byron Highway, and it's a north-south corridor with trucks and an enormous volume of traffic. One study had 19,000 vehicles a day on Camino Diablo, and this is a horse and buggy road, a country road, with no soft shoulders or anything like that. So it's an issue of safety because they raised the speed limit. Between May and May of last year, there were 15 accidents between downtown Byron and the irrigation canal, including a couple big rigs. 3 times they had to medevac people out of there. And I tell the bicycle people, don't ride on Camino Diablo. You take your life in your hands. And there's children that walk every day down that road to school, and the traffic is unbelievable. So I would beg you to prioritize the 239 Airport Connector with Armstrong Road to relieve some of the volume of traffic on that. And I think if you fund that, it's going to be good. Other people are going to talk about the advantages of that, but just for the safety of the people who live on Camino Diablo, it's unsafe for us to pull out of our driveways or to slow down and to try and turn into our driveways. So I'd urge you, please prioritize the 239 connector. And thank you for my chance to speak.
Thank you. Sean Dugan, and then Dave Campbell and Patricia Mantelli-Bristow.
Good evening. My name is Sean Dugan. I'm the Trails Development Program Manager at the East Bay Regional Park District. Thanks for allowing me to speak tonight. First, I do want to thank this board for the continued investment in bikes and peds since 2004. The Measure J funding that's currently allocated for this program has allowed us to leverage our Measure WW funding, Measure CC funding, and do projects that we would otherwise not have been able to do. And it's good because there's about 100 miles of trail in this county and about 100 more proposed. And a lot of it's approaching 30 years old, and we definitely support the strong language in this category. But I do have a problem with the amount, and I wouldn't call it a problem. I think it's an opportunity. A lot's changed since 2004, and I have a brochure that I gave to the clerk here that identifies about $129 million worth of trails projects that we've identified that link transit-oriented developments, that link employment centers, that connect priority development areas, schools, hospitals, as well as provide overcrossings over major roads that otherwise are being crossed at grade, which causes congestion, as you all know. Currently, the 2.6% that's allocated for this category will cover just under half of that amount that we've identified. 4% gets us $93.5 million, and 5% would be $116 million. So it's still not quite funding it, but we support the 5% that you've heard about tonight. I'll try to keep this short, and I like numbers too. We have about 20 trail counters throughout this county, and those counters are on the Contra Costa Canal Trail, the Iron Horse Trail, the Delta de Anza Trail, San Francisco Bay Trail, and others. Those counters, since 2011, have shown a 39% increase in usage. And I've already provided this comment. I'm also a member of the EPAC. That's an average of 2 million users per year, and I know you know this, but that's twice the population of Contra Costa County. I don't know if that's really relevant, but it just gives you an idea of how many people that really is. Counters in the urban areas, in the rural areas, in West County, in East County, certain counters in there, at least 2 of them in those counties, in those subregions, show peak hours of use on those trails that mirror the commute hours on our freeways and in our BART system, between 7 and 9 and 4 and 6 in the evening. And that's also on here. I thank you again for your investment in this category. I think it could go up to 5%. I'm pushing for that. And I will just close by saying that I think as a voter myself, when I hear that my transportation dollars are going towards pothole repair, it's not as exciting to me. When I can show that there's a project happening in my backyard, I can walk to school, my kids can walk to school. I'm advocating for balance here. I think that we should seek balance and not focus only on our roads, take care of our infrastructure, of our bikes and ped network, as well as our others. Thanks for your time.
Don't go away. I have a question, Mr. Chair. When you talk about 2 million, your counters have 2 million, was that 2 million people or 2 million trips?
The counters count the break in the beam, and it's an average of 2 million per year.
2 million trips.
2 million breaks in that beam.
Okay, and that's fine.
I may undercount as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dave Campbell, Advocacy Director with the Bike East Bay. Thank you, Commissioners. You heard from representatives of our Army, actually, in support of 5% for bike ped and a strong Complete Streets program. It's an Army that's ready to hit the campaign trail and get the voters to support a much-needed increase in transportation funding in Contra Costa County. If we can come to an agreement on a plan, and based on the comments tonight, we still have some work to do. In the spirit of getting us all closer together, I do want to lend Bike East Bay's support to your attachment B, the letter from Bay Area Council, East Bay Leadership Council, Building Industry Association, where they say they would like to see strong guidelines incorporated into the major funding categories. We absolutely support that as well. I think the voters deserve that. These flexible categories that have a corridor approach, and I include major streets and complete streets in there, we need to make sure we select the best project. So we support the strong guidelines, strong performance measures to make sure we get the voters the best projects. And of all the conversations I've heard to date, I think that's the one thing that I've heard the most agreement on. And I would encourage staff, your hardworking staff, who I do want to thank for their efforts, if we could see some of those performance measures and goals a lot sooner, I think it'll get us to the finish line sooner. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Patty Mantelli Bristow, and I want to thank you for your time, first of all, board members. It's nice to see some familiar faces, Federal and Bob. Nice to see you. I am from a farming family that started farming asparagus in East Contra Costa County in 1916. We are still growing asparagus, and we are still paying our taxes for the Contra Costa County transportation. My father taught me many, many years ago, if you want to make a difference, Patty, get involved. So I, for the past year, have been on the Contra Costa Transportation Authority Citizens Advisory Committee. And the reason I got on the committee is because I really, really am worried about State Route 239. I live on Camino Diablo Road in Byron, and it was my foundation and my well that were falling apart because of the trucks that were passing on it. Our Board of Supervisors, we started 2 years ago, and on November 10th of last year, our County Board of Supervisors passed an ordinance taking the trucks off the road. Those trucks belong on State Route 239, which, as Ron said, has been on the books since 1959. We pay our taxes. We've been here long enough. We need our roads, and we need them as a priority, please. The second thing I want to talk about is BART. Again, my parents paid into BART. My grandparents paid into BART. In the early 1960s, BART was thought of in 1949. In the early 1960s, when I was still at Liberty High School, my best friend Sally's grandfather, Supervisor Joe Silva, was the supervisor that made BART happen. We deserve our BART station too, in Brentwood and Byron. Thank you for your time.
Hi. Thank you for all you do. My name is Ron Schmidt. I'm pastor of St. Anne Church in Byron. I've been there 21 years. I live in Byron on Hallway, 3959 Hallway. I'm also a member of the Byron Municipal Advisory Committee. And I came to speak in favor of the 239 project. I think it's essential for a couple of reasons. One, we're drowning in traffic in our community. The volume of traffic going to Tracy and other parts unknown pass through Byron. It's hard to get out of your driveway in the morning and in the evening. It's killing the economics of the community. It's also dangerous. There are many children who live in a trailer park near us who are constantly walking along the Byron Highway, and I cringe every time I see them walking along there because of the volume of traffic and the speed that's going along there. We need to develop 239 in order to alleviate some of the traffic, but also it will provide some economic development. The three churches in our area are taking care of the poverty in the area, and it's kind of been a hidden thing for a long time that the poverty in East County has been kind of not seen because it's in suburbia or in a rural area. But about every week, the Ecumenical Food Pantry in our area is feeding over 150 families in Byron, in Discovery Bay, in Bethel Island, and in the Clayton Trailer Park. There is a need for economic development, and the airport connector, I think, is also key for that. And in many ways, Byron and that part of the county has been neglected and forgotten. If you drive down Main Street in Byron, it looks like a blighted neighborhood. And we need to be able to have some attention put in that part of the county. Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman Tazin and members of the commission. My name is Tony Tiscarino. I am a member of the Antioch City Council. I'm also a member of Transplant, ECRFA, and State Route for Bypass. And I'm here to support the statements that Supervisor Mary People had addressed with you. I think it's important that we continue to do the good work that you've done in East County. There's a lot of good things that happen. You know, traffic is starting to get a little bit better out there, but we, being the heart of the East County and Antioch, we do see the congestion out there, and we know there's a lot of work, and it's going to go all the way down to the Byron area. So I am in support of extending 239, and we also are supportive of keeping the project as far as the James Nolan project going. But what I'm here to talk about is given any given day, we are, I believe, the second largest city in the county of Antioch, over 108,000 members out there, citizens. And we as a city council did some prioritizing. And one of the things that we're looking at with our transportation is, our road repairs and street repairs. But we're also interested in keeping the conversation open on the ferry system out there. We've had that conversation. I know it's in the plan here. I was noticing on your bar chart that it didn't seem like it was a priority, but I think it is a priority. Antioch is a gateway to the Delta. It's a hub. It would bring in economic development. It would bring in a lot of good things to the surrounding cities out there. So I'm really going to advocate, and we're going to continue to advocate the ferry system out there. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Fred Doolittle and Michael Vecchio and Joel DeValcourt.
Good evening. My name is Fred Doolittle. I'm a resident of Danville, California, and I think there's one theme that I've heard almost universally tonight, and that is traffic congestion. And how do we alleviate traffic and congestion? What works? Do widening roads or adding a left turn lane here or there really work? No, it really doesn't. You have to get volume. And I have a little quiz for you. What happened in New York City when they converted, what happened to the car traffic when they converted a car lane to protected bike lanes that are safe and efficient? The cars, did they slow down or speed up because traffic was pushed into the fewer lanes? They sped up because bikes are smaller than cars. How many bikes can fit in one car parking space? 9, maybe 10. Exactly. Bikes are a mechanism, and they have been used effectively around the world to alleviate congestion in traffic and get more people through a built-up area. It's also a quality of life issue. It's also a democracy and economic issue. There's serious transportation. They allow people to get exercise, get to work, and they're recreational. So I'm also offering my support for 5%. Furthermore, we have these railway systems, including BART, which can move people at a grand total of 20 cents per mile, per passenger mile. That's nearly 1/3 what an automobile can do. It's far more efficient, but that thing, once parking's filled up, it runs empty most of the day. How do we get people to BART around the clock? By protected, safe, efficient bicycle and pedestrian facilities. And as folks have said, why don't more people use it? They do in places around the world and around the United States where the facilities and infrastructure is high quality. And I also heard a couple comments about, and the bicyclist too or whatever. When you really look at the numbers, it's a very efficient, effective form of spending dollars to get increased transportation capacity, and it's a win-win. It's not a win-lose. What happened to the business foot traffic on Valencia Street in San Francisco when they removed a car lane and put in bike lanes? Business foot traffic went up. So it is a win-win-win. I encourage you to support this proposal. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Michael Vecchio and then Joel DeValcourt, followed by Diane McNair.
Hi, my name is Michael Vecchio. I'm a resident of Walnut Creek and a member of Bike Walnut Creek. I have some handouts here. I'm not sure.
Can you just give them to staff?
If they just give them to you and you pass them around. Some of the information that I think Bike East Bay had prepared indicated how over the last 5 years or so, census data was pretty clear that Contra Costa County was pretty flat in the bike usage, though some other counties were increasing. I sort of just coincidentally had, in preparation for the meeting tonight, looked at some of the 5 census tracts around Concord BART Station and the Walnut Creek BART Station, and that's what's in the handout that you'll be getting. It really shows pretty clearly over the last 5 years that the bicycle usage has decreased in those census tracts around the BART station. You'll also see in the handout that it shows the commute to work trips for bikes, cars, BART, and as well as walking. And you'll see the various percentages and the increases in BART, for example. But you'll see really the decrease in all, and for the 5 census tracts, decrease in bike use. So that's really a clear indication that at least over the last 5 years, that the bike use has decreased. I mean, funding has decreased, infrastructure has not kept pace with the demand, and people are really clamoring to use their bikes as a safe and efficient way to get to work. So I think it's a clear indication that the funding that's proposed for the Measure J plan really needs to be increased dramatically to be able to get achieve one of the goals that you want to achieve, which is increasing bike traffic. And when you do that, you'll decrease some of the auto traffic on the roads at the same time. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Joe DeValcourt, Diane McNair, and Marianne Roberts.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you, and thank you, staff, as well, for moving this forward. Thank you for this opportunity tonight. I think this is a momentous evening. We might not all see it that way. It's contentious, perhaps, but there's expanding public dialogue in our county right now, and that's a good thing. And it's certainly not going to stop tonight. This is going to go on for the next couple months, and it really speaks to the interconnection of these issues. It speaks to the diversity of the county. We're a county of subregions. And we also live in a different time than 1998. We live in a different time than 2004. And now's the time that we have to make the right kind of smart decisions. We're asking people to put up $2.3 billion of tax money over the next 30 years. We're not asking them to do it for the first time. We're asking them to do it for the third time. And these have to meet state laws. They have to reduce congestion so that voters are happy. And we have a lot of needs, not only in each part of the county, but from each interest group. You have a 29-member EPAC group that can't come to a decision on what we need. And that, I think, speaks to some sense of the complexity of these issues, and also that we might not all be happy, and that might be all right. Speaking to some things tonight, it's plainly false to assume that a county transportation measure can't require local jurisdictions to conform to standards that voters have strongly supported for decades. Indeed, CCTA has done this since 1998 with the Growth Management Program, and it reaffirmed and it strengthened those in 2004. There's no legal basis for the claims that regional money nor county money should directly or indirectly fund poorly performing projects. Local jurisdictions are welcome to try funding controversial projects through local initiatives. That's fine. Why should county as a whole make these particular decisions at this time? There are $2.3 billion at stake. People all over the county have a voice, and 2016 is not the status quo. Which is why, among many other tools voters have approved time and again, we hope to invest in projects that enhance our existing system, close loopholes that allow sprawl, invest in transit, walking, biking, and corridor projects, which include highway investments as well, that reduce congestion, protect our farms and open space, create good jobs, and enhance incentives to direct growth to the right places. These are all things that voters in Contra Costa have already supported, and the current draft falls short of meeting these and enhancing them. And this is why so many EPAC members and Contra Costa voters are proposing to have performance measures that give voters a guarantee that their money is well spent to meet the public good, not putting any of the subregions at a disadvantage. It seems a bit disingenuous that some think that previous tax dollars have not served the entire county. This would appear to condemn previous initiatives and call to question Highway 4 widening, BART extensions in the previous tax measures, as well as other things that I think have perhaps not as well served East County as we'd like them to, but have certainly been voted twice in by voters, and those discussions have happened in the past. It only seems fair that each subregion gets a corridor allotment that's equitable, and that we can then let them wrestle out what are the best performing projects. Currently, East County has 3 corridor projects. All the others have 1, none of which have any proposed final project, totaling more than any of the other subregions, twice of the West County. So it seems fair to see which one of those 3 works best. Is it a BART extension? Is it alleviating traffic through the East County corridor? Is it doing goods movement by rail, which I think is a great idea, and we have an existing rail system. So we have a lot of projects on the table, and we need to make smart decisions with an additional tax increment that will put all of the voters of Contra Costa in a position to make the right decisions. And we may have a long way to go. We might have a few more months, but I think we have smart minds in this room. We have smart minds who are voters, and I think we can make the right decisions. So thank you very much.
I'm not used to public speaking. I'm Diane McNair. I'm an Antioch resident. I support Bike East Bay's proposal for the TEP. I didn't plan on speaking, but when I'm relatively new to cycling as my primary means of transportation, and when I inquire about safe routes to get from here to there, and I'm told there aren't any, then I'd rather stand here and be nervous about speaking and hopefully find safe routes rather than taking my life in my hands to get from here to there. Thanks.
You did great. We look forward to hearing from you again. Marianne Roberts and Elena.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marianne Roberts, brand new resident of Concord. Yay, Concord. I'm here with Bike Concord and support Bike East Bay's proposals for the TEP. I'm a commuting and recreational cyclist for the past 15 years. I'm not new to cycling. In Oakland and San Francisco is where I've done most of my riding. And we've seen a lot of gains there and growth in recent years, which is really exciting. I support safe and accessible bike and pedestrian pathways and infrastructure everywhere, especially where we bike. My partner Arash and I, where are you, babe? Wave. Hi. My partner Arash and I bike with our kids who are 6 and 9. We just moved to Concord a month ago, and we find it much more challenging to bike with our kids on busy streets due to the lack of bike lanes. Or we'll pick up a bike lane and then it'll drop off for a couple of blocks and we'll have to jump on the sidewalk. We take back roads and residential streets, but it's tough when we have to cross or ride along a major corridor like Bancroft, Oak Grove, or Treat Boulevard. You can kind of guess where we live. We manage, and it can get a little hectic. You can see me in the front, Arash in the back, the kids between us, a lot of, stay to the right, focus, keep your, eye on my wheel line, and they do great, but it can be a little scary sometimes. We're doing our part to raise the next generation to help reduce automotive traffic and congestion in the community, but we really need your help. We support Bike East Bay's proposals, TEP proposal, and in particular allocating at least 5% for bike and pedestrian infrastructure that will make our roads safer for families and commuters. Thank you so much for your listening, patience, time, and support.
Great, thank you. Elena Miyakashiva.
Hello, I'm Elena Miyakashiva. I am, today I just found out I've been riding a bicycle for 5 years, since being a kid, anyway. I am a resident and middle school teacher here in Concord. I bike to work, and my students walk, bike, skateboard, scooter, and bus to school. Please make it safer for us. We had a student killed just last year by a vehicle, and I would like to know that my students will make it to school every day. Please, honestly, even those ones. Also, I really would like to be able to BART to Brentwood. I know it's been planned forever. That would be awesome. Anyway, I am here to support Bike East Bay's and Bike Concord's 5% funding proposal for the bike pedestrian category. I am one of the many Bike Concord peers. If we could just have a stand.
Well,
everyone could stand. I know Kendrick
we've heard from a number of you.
We're all still here. We're serious. Please give us the 5%. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're in Pleasant Hill.
Right.
We're in Pleasant Hill.
You're in unincorporated Contra Costa County.
Right.
And believe me, it's a Walnut Creek address. We fought that battle. I wish it was still Pleasant Hill.
Right. 2999. Anyway, thank you very much for your comments. So I have one speaker card left from Stephen Smith. So if anyone else would like to speak on this item, this is your last chance to fill out a speaker slip for items 1.2 or 1.3. Welcome.
Steve Smith, well known to most of you. I realized somewhat belatedly that a paragraph that I had prepared for the next agenda item is better placed here. With regard to the issue of State Route 239, an essential part of Brentwood's efforts to improve our jobs housing balance involves going past our current status as a transportation cul-de-sac. State Route 239 is an essential part of this program for us.